Hanging out here with the fellas, chilling, getting a little sun. Enjoying the day. Spring has arrived. Yeah. We took a day off, man. We've been working pretty hard around here. Decided to take us a day off. Took care of all the gals. They good to go. Everybody indoors, chilling. I'm out here. Hanging with the fellas. Thought I'd get on here and talk some crap with y'all today. Do a little bit of ranting, complaining. Just overall, observing the facts that everything ain't gotta be cool for it to be cool. Get down, little guy. Got me a nice cup of Joe, chilling out here, observing things. Nice cloudy day. With the little clouds we got, looks like a painting. Looks like a painting. Oh, let me make sure. That's the pops right there, and that's the son. The father and the son. But yeah, man, it's gonna be a good day today. After everything, get down, dude. Get off me, man. Got some stuff I need to do. I'm not gonna do it today. I'm gonna wait till the week starts. Got some plans to put in. Yeah. We got some plants coming up right now. Some garlic and onions. Yeah. They doing pretty good. And as the season go forward, it's gonna get even better. Don't get in there. Get out of there. What's wrong with you? Just gotta be an actor. Got to be an actor. What is wrong? Yeah. We're gonna put some tomatoes over here. And then some cantaloupe too. See how those work together. This area right here is already prepped, ready to go. Looks sandy. Yep. Everything's slowly but surely coming back to life. These grapevines, they're gonna start popping up here pretty soon. You can already see the the stuff starting to come back in there. See that? That liquid right there? That's the chlorophyll re-entering the plant. Yep. So it's starting to come back to life. Once it gets back to life, it's gonna start producing some more leaves, and then the grapes are gonna come. Hey man, what are you? See, that's why your ass ain't allowed in the garden. That's why you ain't allowed in the garden. Get out. Get out. You're not allowed in the garden because you don't know how. Good Lord. If it ain't one thing, it's another. Go. Go ahead. Go to your house. Little jerks. Guy gonna pop a squat on my fucking alfalfa. It's a damn shame. Well, yeah. Got some more plans to go through. all of this stuff over here, I got to figure out what I'm going to put up in the ground over here. This is like warm weather type stuff that's going to be over here. So I might drop some corn in the ground. Corn likes that warm weather. Then I might drop some beans in the ground, a lot of them. You never have too much beans and corn. Beans and cornbread. Yep, the girls, they out. Some of them enjoying the weather. Weather, getting them some sun. Dirty booty. Do some upkeep to their shit. I had a windstorm, and I never repaired it. I just left it like it was. Yeah, I gotta go through and fix that. It's always something. When I built this, I thought it was gonna fall down the very next week, but it's been holding up, man, for about 5 or 6 years now. Yep, some of the wood, it's reclaimed wood, starting to buckle, you know, but it's standing tall. Keeping that stuff real. Oh, chickerinos. Let me see who's in here. Who's in there? Who's in there? The chicken heads. They were all out here earlier, bathing in the sand and shit. But then I guess they got too much sun and decided to call it a day. And yeah. Let's see, there's some work I need to do right now. They ain't got no water. So I gotta get them some water. After I finish drinking my coffee though. But it's weird how everything starts waking up. Starts looking like, you know, it's struggling and shit. Like every year it gotta reacclimate and get some freaking life back into it. So that's the fun shit. The the not so fun shit is trying to fight off these damn ground moles and shit. We got a bunch of them living out here in the sand and shit. And they haven't dug up yet. They haven't come out yet. So I think sometime around late April, maybe May, I start seeing a lot of them pop up. They'll make these little mounds, you know, because they got to come up. They really just fishing, trying to allow some moisture down there so they can have some worms and shit come up. But in this sand, you know, they have to dig down really deep to have those worms and shit come up because there's about 5 foot of sand on top of them motherfuckers. So they come up and they eat the roots around my trees and shit. That's like they substitute. Yep. But I like it out here, man. It's pretty good in the old Nevada. You guys, anybody living out here in Nevada, man, and you got you a nice spot, you're gonna like it. Who the fuck? Who the fuck putting candy? See? Motherfuckers don't respect your shit. Got candy paper out here. Damn kids. Yeah. Alright, I think I talked about some natural shit for a while. Let's talk about some stupid shit. Like these motherfuckers up here crying about the government jobs. So everybody's scared about these government jobs going away, but they ain't realize the unemployment rate hasn't jumped. So if all of these people are getting fired from the federal government, what, they not working no more? They haven't been reported as unemployed? If you go to the unemployment website, there's no significant increase. There's an unemployment website where you can see the national unemployment rates. There's no there's no increase that's like significant. It's just like the normal rate of unemployment. But they were supposedly had gone in there and got rid of a shitload of people, thousands. Oh shit, I got some eggs in here. Didn't even know it. All right, that's another thing I gotta do. Get them some water, clean out the eggs. But look, man, these motherfuckers lying about this shit. They not getting rid of nothing. And all the same thing with the Social Security. These people found out there was a fraudulent amount of Social Security, and guess what they doing? Instead of giving the money to the taxpayers, and you know they can, because look how they did this shit during COVID, where they gave everybody a stimulus, right? For no fucking reason. Where'd that money come from? It was like, we're gonna stimulate the economy. Well, now they found billions of dollars. So that would mean that they should be able to give us a big ass stimulus, right? Shit. Man, they repurposing that money. And I don't mean like back into government programs. Yeah, it wasn't going to government programs. When you repurpose something that was being stolen, guess what you're doing with it? You're stealing it. You're stealing it back. You're stealing it back. And that's what these guys are doing. See, this is the downfall. This is the bad part about living out here, where there's a bunch of sand and shit. It gets blown from one side of the property to the other side. It's like a big ass fucking yeah. But they've been lying about that money, man. If they found all of that money, why they not trying to return it to the taxpayers? That's because now they gonna use it. See? And they're not really firing anybody either. This is allegedly, you know. But common sense tells me this is what's happening. They're not firing anybody because the unemployment rate hasn't gone up, right? And they're really not putting that money back where it came from, because if that was the case, then wouldn't we start seeing something significant? When you put billions of dollars back into the economy, that would mean that prices should go back to, a normalized rate. But that shit ain't happening. Prices are not going back to a normalized rate. Prices are right where they were before all this shit happened. Why is that? Why is that important? Because look, this is going to drive what your activities are doing. Meaning, like, whatever they do is what's going to push you to do something. So if you're in the business and you're investing in shit right there, this is the time to invest, because there's a lot of money that these people are going to be trying to wash in the system. And the best way to wash in the system is through business and investments. Where your daddy at? Hey, guy. This little guy's walking around following me, messing up everything. But yeah, people wonder why Elon Musk is part of Trump's cabinet. Well, when you got trillions of dollars that's unaccounted for and can't be utilized by individuals, guess what you got to do? You got to have a way of washing that shit. See? And everybody's looking at the fact that Tesla stocks are going down, but that's even better for them to hide money in the first place. When you got a business that's being that's going under, the best thing to do is invest in it. You know why? Because it has room to grow. Elon Musk ain't in there for Doge. He's in there as a money laundering system for all the businesses that he have. You got to launder that money to be able to use it. All of that money that they getting from the government, that shit is accounted for. If you use it, they can track who's using it. But if you run it through a business and you get money back from it, just imagine if you put $1 trillion into fucking Tesla. That's going to make Tesla the most richest car company in the world. You put $1 trillion in the Tesla. Even if people don't want to buy Tesla, that's still going to make Tesla the richest company in the world. And Tesla can take a loss. They can take a giant loss. And guess what's going to happen to that $1 trillion? It's going to get recycled through the system. And the people that's going to get paid first are the board members. Look at Trump. Check out Trump. If Trump is on the board of Elon Musk's, if he's like a private investor of Elon Musk's business, man. First of all, he got over $1 trillion coming in for this immigration shit. You know, the $5 million per gold card. He got over $1 trillion coming in for that. And see, he's going to be able to use that any way he wants because that's a consulting company he's utilizing. These people are paying him for consultations to help them get, citizenship. So Elon Musk, the money that Elon Musk is there to wash is all the money that they getting from this fraudulent Social Security shit. They need a business to funnel that shit through so it looks legitimate. Now, I'm just a dummy, and if a dummy nigga like me can figure this shit out, imagine what a lot of business investors are doing. They're going to start investing in this shit. You guys think Tesla went under. Tesla is not going under. They're going to shift their fucking energy to Tesla. Tesla's going to come back even stronger after this, watch. First of all, they're going to take them poo butt ass micro machine cars that they fucking making, the ones that look all the same. Man, what's the use of getting a car and having your own car if they all look like everybody else's car? You might as well just ride the Greyhound bus, or travel publicly like that. If you want to ride in the same thing, they did that because they knew a lot of people were in on this electric car boom. So they made the electric cars so unappealing. Man, they could have made these electric cars look space age, like the ones they had in fucking I Am Robot, where Will Smith was driving and shit. They could have made those cars look badass. They were electric cars. They weren't traditionally like a regular car, but guess what they did? They made them look like homeless cars, like a homeless person had a car. You driving down the street with a car that's got all these sharp edges on it, look like you just took some sheet metal and welded it together and shit. That's like the shit right there. But that's the minimalist, background that these guys wanted to work around. But they knew that people would get tired of this shit because everybody wants to have something that's unique and special. Not with this shit that they got. All these Tesla cars look alike, man. The cyber cars, they look alike. They garbage. They ain't got no real advantage over any other car. I saw a video of a Tesla truck competing against a Humvee. Man, the Humvee did everything backwards and beat the Tesla car going forward. Everything backwards. Climbing hills, going through rough terrain. They did it everything in reverse in the Humvee. The Tesla car couldn't even do some of the shit going forward. So it was a poorly made vehicle for an expensive amount. And then get everybody to hate Tesla. And then they're going to come forward and they're going to say some shit like this. This is just my prediction. They're going to come forward and say that private investors invested in Tesla and brought the company back. And you know how people are when they hear shit about the news, especially investors that follow trends. They're going to see that and they're going to jump on the bandwagon. Tesla's going to come back and be the richest car company in the world. Not in America, in the world. And they're not going to be specializing in cars. They're going to be specializing in drone programs and flying cars, all the concept shit. Because when you got trillions of dollars for a company, man, there ain't no company in history that's made trillions of dollars in a short period of time. Over time, yeah, but never at like a short period of time. And I won't be surprised if they come forward and say Trump openly invest in Tesla. And guess where you can get that money from? From the gold card program and from the Social Security program, because they got to wash all that money. because all that money's illegal. Right now, it's not money in the form of dollars. Right now, it's money in the form of zeros and ones. It's digital currency. It's direct deposited forms of cash. So they could put that money to the side and watch it grow digitally on the computer. But they can't go in there and withdraw it because every withdrawal shows the IP address of the person that's withdrawing it. It shows a paper trail. So that money is going to be invested back into the American economy. And what better way to invest it than in a up and coming new age car company that was once failing, but now has become the richest car company in the world. And that money is going to be, once it gets into the car company, it's going to disappear. Well, it's going to become part of their revenue. And if the company is worth trillions of dollars coming through their coffers, it's not going to be something that, especially government money, it's not going to be something that is bad. Trump already said something about Apple investing in America. Come on, people got to put this shit together. Apple's investing in America? No. Apple is helping wash that money. You're talking about trillions of dollars. You got 2 million motherfuckers claiming to be 120. You got 2 million motherfuckers claiming to be 130 and so up. And you got a few thousand, 100,000 motherfuckers claiming to be 200 and something years old. That's a lot of money. Security, just Social Security, SSI, and the EBT program. You know how much money that is? That's like 5 grand of just money from SSI and Social Security by itself. Then the EBT is like maybe 1,000 or so. So this is how much money that each one of these accounts is. One thing they did is how long this money has been accumulating, or how long this money has been taken out of the coffers of the American banks and shit. And they're not gonna tell you that because if you find out, motherfuckers can do calculations and see how much money has actually been transferred to these faulty accounts. And then you can multiply that shit by how many people it is and the time frame, and you'll see how much money I'm talking about. And most of these people don't need the money. This is like residual income that's just coming in for these people. So it's just been stacking up. It's just been stacking up. If they wanted to, they could make a public spectacle out of all of these people that's receiving this money. They could come up there and say who they are, word for word. Their first name, last name, they can get a date of birth and everything. You know why? Because all of these checks that's going out and been going out have all been direct deposits. You don't think that the bank can't trace these payments where they're coming from? No bank is going to come forward and say they've been receiving stolen cash from the U.S. Treasury. No bank is going to come forward and say that. You know why? Because that would make their establishment illegal and they would have to shut down. So they're not going to come forward. They're not going to help us find out who's been stealing from us. But it's easy. If we were to find out, it ain't that hard. Every one of these accounts have social security numbers. They could have been figured this shit out, exposed these people, arrested them, but no, they're gonna reuse the cash. And see, you can't reuse the cash if all the cash is being held for evidence. And God knows how long that's gonna take because bu- bureaucrats will hold shit up in limbo for years. No, they need that cash right now. Because, see, there's going to be a big push here in a little bit to create a whole new America. They already named the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America. They're already talking about Canada is going to be the 51st state. Do you know if they turn Canada into the 51st state, and they really make uh, the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America, what's going to happen? It's gonna be some serious shit happening. Ooh. It's gonna be some serious shit happening. Some people, some people are not ready for what's about to happen. And it's gonna be the best thing that ever happened to them. The best thing. What is this? Why? I kicked the Mutleys out. I know. I kicked them out. Made them go back into their area because of that. But look over there. You'll see what I'm talking about. And this is the culprit right here.
So that's a good one.
A little shit bag shit in the garden. Hmm. Anywhere that they haven't shit before is like an exciting new discovery for them. So they take advantage of that. Uh-uh. He's in love with you. Family came out to walk the garden with your boy. Hmm. I would put them on camera, but they don't want to be on camera. Y'all want to be on camera? Okay, okay. Easy. Easy peasy. Put you on camera anyway. But yeah, man, all shit that's gonna happen is gonna be the best thing that ever happened to us. Little investments are gonna turn into big ones. And I still think that these companies that are falling right now are gonna be used here shortly to be able to wash this money that's coming out of the government. Because that's the only way they can wash that much money. You know, in fact, why would it be important to wash money in the first place? Well, if you're washing money that's being hidden from the government, it's an easy way to make sure that the government can't take it from you because it's money that's been pushed through the system. Yeah, it's money that's been pushed through the system and made available to you that's not documented by the government. That's nice. Some flowers just getting ready to come out of the ground. Yep. So they're gonna be washing that shit. It's gonna be a lot of money coming to these companies. That's gonna help them become bigger than what they is. Let me check the chat. Checking the chat. Checking the chat. What's up? Salutes. And I can't see shit. None of your business. CS. Milestone. Salutes, guys. Thanks for coming out, man. Hit that like button, man. It's free. All you gotta do is tap the screen. If you're on your phone, tap the screen, man. Yeah. Hit that like button. I can't be on here too long because my damn battery. I should have charged my phone and shit. I probably got about a half an hour to 45 minutes. But yeah, man, hit that like button when y'all come in and shit. I think let me see who else came through. That was it. Your boy got short company today. Watch out. Watch out. Watch out. Watch out, little guy. Watch out, little guys. Oh shit! Looking at that little guy right there, about to fall over. What's up? But watch what happens at the end of the year, though, when we get ready to talk about how far they've gone with this setup they got. Woo! It's getting hot now. The setup that they set up right now with Doge and all that stuff, it's gonna be running way better than it has been. It's not gonna be one of those things that they're gonna leave a chance. Because if they leave it to chance, then it's just gonna end up being taken over by the same people that had it at first. Yeah. And there's a lot of money, man. We talking about money that the average person, $1 million is good, but that's just peanuts compared to the billions that they have, that they find it. The billions. And it's it's still not all of it. Even if they do find out all the fraud, how long have they been doing this shit? So if you can calculate that, you talking about shit. I don't know what I don't know what comes out the trillions. Probably hundreds of trillions, thousands of trillions, millions of trillions, and billions of trillions. And then I don't know what they would say after that, but imagine that much money. That's just been ciphered from the government over years. And we wonder how these people are able to support themselves the way they do for all these years. Man, we pretty much, every country is stealing from us. Every country. Every country's stealing from us. And see, now with the tariffs, they're trying to say, since y'all stealing from us, we know y'all stealing from us, and then y'all ain't paying us either at all, you know, we need to get a kickback from that. Y'all can't sell your products that you buying with our stolen money unless y'all pay us. And they're going to be forced to pay them. You know why? Because I think some of these social security numbers and the fraud in the government is actually going to these other countries. If you find out that, you got a bunch of people from the islands is getting all this money and shit, they don't have to pay these people. I mean, they don't have to expose these people to get the money from them. They can just take over the accounts. You got an account with over $1 billion in it, and most of it came from the federal government. You think they're gonna say, well, this much is ours and that much is yours. You can take that money right there, and we'll take this. Nah, they're gonna take the whole fucking account, and ain't shit these people can say. You know why? Because they were accused of stealing it, and it's proof that they stole it. Justin Trudeau, he left office. He's been the prime minister of Canada for 9 years, and they have the same democratic government that we have. But this motherfucker been the president over there, the prime minister over there for 9 years. That's 2 terms with the start of another one. And now he's just leaving all of a sudden that they started cracking down on the fraud. Man, that's an indicator right there. Yeah. And look, he say he's gonna help the country find. He's gonna stay involved in the politics until they find a new prime minister. Hold on. You gotta find one? I thought you got a democratic society like we do that's voting. So they're not gonna vote in a new prime minister. They're just gonna find one. And they got this lady now she's like the interim. She's like the prime minister until they say they gonna have them an election and shit. So I'm assuming she was with Trudeau and now she's going to take over for him like the vice president take over for the president when he gets ready to get out of there. But it's a trip, man. How this shit's work it out. I don't see why ain't nobody, especially the economists, haven't come forward and said anything about the amount of fraud and what they're gonna do with the fraud or how this fraud's gonna be disseminated out to the public. They can give everybody $50 to $100,000 from this money, every citizen in America, and still have trillions left over from all the fraud that they've been doing. Social Security is just one of the things that they talking about. We're not even talking about the military. Man, the military supposedly has in all four branches over 100,000 members. The amount of money that they're receiving to pay these people is in the billions. And I'm talking about every freaking year. So if you got 100,000 people and ain't none of them making millions of dollars per month, ain't none of them making millions of dollars per year. I mean, the highest paid official in the military is probably making $200,000 a month. You know, so they might be right at the million, but you're talking about taxes too. So ain't nobody really making millions of dollars from the military. They might be getting close, but they not. So why is it taking billions of dollars every year to pay the military? And then we leave all that equipment wherever we go, just leave it. So the military has been getting trillions from the Fed, the trillions of dollars, and where that money goes is into these frivolous ass fucking contracts and these frivolous ass campaigns. All the planes that they've created over the past 20 years have been garbage. Ain't none of them been able to do any of the shit that they told us we was gonna be doing at this time frame back in the day. I remember in the 80s they was talking about we're gonna have flying cars, but not the flying cars that they making now. The flying cars that they making now ain't nothing but glorified drones. Just like helicopters. That's what they making. They had us thinking that we was gonna be flying some George Jefferson, some George Jetson, not Jefferson. Some of that shit, you know. Maybe that was the sound that they were talking about was going to be drone technology. That's why it was making that noise. That, but they had us thinking that these planes are going to be, or these cars, and also planes were going to be ran off some type of science that was never seen before, and then none of that shit came to fruition. And that's to get people complacent and not thinking about the future. And the future of technology is not it's not really that self-explanatory. It's not that really. Let's think about it. Right now, people are able to travel all around the world utilizing social media. You know, there's apps where you can go along with people trips and experience all that shit, see all of it, even the pyramids inside everything, right? So you don't really need to travel to these places. This is almost like transfer of consciousness. You know, your consciousness is going to these places, but your body's not. So this technology has already been created. Now they're trying to immerse us even more into this AI and in this VR shit. This is the stuff that they got people thinking that they're gonna be hooked up to a computer for the rest of their life. You know, Neuralink and all that. It's just a fad. Putting a chip in somebody's body is old shit. I mean, if they was talking about it in the Bible, the mark of the beast and shit like that. And people assume that that's what they're doing right now with these chips and machinery that they put in people's bodies. Then that's old news. That's old shit. So it's not that hard to figure out what they're gonna do next. You know, they're gonna pretend that they have this technology to take your spirit out your body and put it in a computer and shit like that. And that's gonna be the fad. They already got AI, so they can pretend and use voice mimicry and say that this person is living in the machine. And by doing that, they're going to have to make certain changes to the rules that we follow, like in government. Again, if they make Canada, the 51st state, and they changed the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America legitimately now. That means that Mexico is going to become a 52nd state. And when you have 52 states, that means that most of the laws and the rules that they had that governed, politics are going to have to be revoted on, especially the one with term limits. You know, back in the day, in the 30s, they was talking about how long a president or politicians can stay in office. And to make it seem like it's not a monarch, they put term limits on politicians. I think what is it, FDR? He was the only president that did two tours or two consecutive uh, presidencies. So he did his first 4 years. He did a second 4 years. That was 8 years. Then he ran again, and he got another 4 years. Was 12 years. This cat supposedly had been president 4 terms, and then they changed the rules and said you can only do 2 terms. Yeah, that you can only do 2 terms. But that was voted on when we had 48 states. That was before we had Hawaii and Puerto Rico. So now that we got Hawaii and Puerto Rico, the only reason why they haven't amended or appealed that law is because ain't nobody really brought it up. But right now, I think that this is the perfect time for them to bring it up. If they turn around and make Canada the 51st state on paper, then that gives them justification because the three-fifths rule, that three-fifths of the states or three-sixths of the states, however they say it, have to vote on it, and the numbers don't match because when they voted on term limits for president back then, when dude had 4 terms in, there was only 48 states, and it took 36 states to vote on it for it to pass and say there's term limits now for presidents. Well, you add 2 more states to that, and now it's 36 ain't gonna be good enough. You're gonna need around 38, 37, 37, 38 and a half. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna need that many states to vote on this shit right now to ratify it. And all they're gonna need is to bring it up. Like say Trump wanna run for president again. All they gotta do is say, yeah, we're gonna need to vote on it because now we have this many states in the union and that vote wasn't, it doesn't pertain to now on how they got things set up. And I can see that shit happening, man. I can see that shit happening. I mean, right now, this is the craziest time in American history where we've had the most assets, being being frauded. We never had this much money in history being, unaccounted for. Back when George Bush was in office and the Pentagon was attacked and all that shit, Dick Cheney came up and said that there was $2 trillion unaccounted for that they lost from the Pentagon. And the Pentagon runs the military industrial complex. They're the ones that run the government from the military side. We don't really need the Pentagon for government. We need it for military. That's where all the generals, all of their strategic shit. You got NORAD not too far from there. You know, the Pentagon is where they do a lot of their strategic, international policies and shit. But technically, we don't really need the Pentagon. Yeah. If you look into it, before we had the Pentagon, we was doing just fine. We didn't really have no worries about international issues because, to tell you the truth, man, ain't nobody traveling that far just to fucking die. China never come over here. Russia never come over here. Them motherfuckers, they know better. Just like we know better at going over there to them motherfuckers. Every war that if you haven't seen Every war that they said we've been in, we've only taken a small portion of our military force. Because if we take everybody over there, we're not going to be able to sustain them. You're talking about taking half, you're talking about taking a large, not half, but a large part of the population that you got to feed, clothe, and shelter over to another country, and they ain't got no infrastructure set up for you to come over there. No infrastructure. What they were going to do in China with these cities that they were building, they were going to house a bunch of foreign diplomats, leaders, and military members. But this is what they realized with that. Would expose how are living. They're not ready for that yet. They're not ready for the lie to be exposed. Because China is broke. Them niggas ain't got nothing over there. They making everybody thinking that they the richest nation in the world because they bought a lot of our debt. But in actuality, if your debt ain't worth shit, then they ain't buying shit. They just got a bunch of pieces of paper saying that you owe them. And look at this girl right here. Get back over there to your side. Oh, mama. But yeah, how are you going to be richer than the country that owes you money, right? And expect them to honor that debt? You richer than them. They're not going to be quick to pay you, just like a motherfucker out here in America ain't quick to pay the debt collector. Them niggas they will not. Look, how you going to collect the debt from a country? You can't collect citizens. Debt collectors, if you tell them they can't call you legally, they can't harass you. They can't do shit to you. All they can do is say, hey, we notified them. We're going to do a charge off and charge it to the system. That's all they can do. What do you think China going to do if they ever decide that they want to try to collect on that debt? You think the U.S. public going to be like, all right, I'll pay my portion of it? You niggas going to be like, you stupid for buying it. You stupid for buying our debt. Especially when the debt ain't nothing but credit. So you mean to tell me you bought our credit debt and now you come in and make us pay it? You can't even get 5 out of 10 credit card users to pay their credit card debt after they didn't reneged on paying it. You can't come after them. What China gonna do? Show up at your doorstep? Hell no. The niggas ain't coming out here. They know better. They gonna show up at somebody's doorstep and what they gonna be wearing and what they gonna be speaking. They sure the fuck ain't gonna be speaking up Cantonese and wearing some fucking CCP uniforms. Oh, that's the worst fucking thing they can do. Not only are they not gonna get paid, they not gonna leave this bitch. You gonna have motherfuckers hunting these motherfuckers. They already tried to see how that was gonna work out there in New York and California and shit, where they got CCP fucking police stations. What they do with them police stations? The citizens found out about it and fucking ransacked that shit. Turned their ass in. Them people literally was hoping that the government step in and save them and say that these Chinese people have a right to be here and to do what they want to do under their own rules and regulations. Hell, they was waiting for the government to say that. But you know what the government did? Turned their back on them. Literally turned their back on them. Said, and look, put it out. We got CCP fucking police stations in America. See? Invite them over here and then demonize them. And then after you demonize them, kick their motherfucking ass out justifiably. He did some crazy shit how they did it. Yep. Talked China into buying all that debt, right? Made them seem like they the richest nation in the world. And you know how they buy debt? They buy debt pennies on the dollar, guys. Pennies on the dollar. You think they're going to change the policy just because China want to buy it? Man, China probably bought trillions of dollars worth of debt from us for hundreds of millions of dollars, expecting to capitalize on that shit when they call the debt in. Or we're gonna call the debt in, and y'all gonna owe us trillions of dollars because we paid y'all hundreds of millions of dollars for it. Man, that shit ain't gonna work. That's only if the motherfucker that the debt belonged to is willing to pay. That's if the debt, if the motherfucker that took the debt or did the debt is willing to pay. And that's what's gonna happen. Not when they finding fraud at this level in our government. This is a reason why they can say that the debt was none and void, just like they saying Biden freaking what they call that shit, his uh his pardons were no good. See, they find it. They can say anything now. They say Biden was doing pardons, robo signing. So this nigga was with a robotic pen was signing off pardons. And come to find out, they've been doing this shit for years, since the fucking Reagan era. They've been signing shit with robotic pens. That would make every rule, every law that was signed by those robotic pens null and void. Think about it. If he's exposing this and saying that it's unconstitutional, it's unpresidential, that means that now they got to go back. You know how they overturn shit. If they find out that a lawyer or a judge or the state was doing fraudulent shit and they had everybody freaking arrested, and all the cases they had made have to be rejudged, have to be reran, or they all thrown out, and all the people that were involved are fired or released from jail. That's how they do this shit. So they just setting it up. This is how they're gonna set it up to make everything that was done during these presidencies seem like it was fraudulent, so they can make new policy. And that also goes along with changing the term limit. You know, if they don't change the term limit during Trump's presidency, they're gonna do it shortly after. Yep, they're gonna do it shortly after because that even proves what they were talking about with this robo-pen shit too, as well. That Biden wasn't really running the country. Because if he got motherfuckers signing executive orders and pardons without him knowing it, you know, with some type of robotic pen, then shit, Trump could have been running the country. He could have been motherfuckers on Biden's side to sign executive orders and do all kinds of shit. What Biden gonna say? Oh, I'm not confident enough to figure out if somebody's using my name fraudulently or that people are making policies in my name and I'm not even aware of it. Hell no, he ain't gonna say that. You know how that'll mean? That'll be that all of these years that Biden been in office, that he was a puppet, that he was incapable of doing his job. I can't find this damn. Oh, there it is. He ain't gonna do that, man. He is not gonna tell anybody that people were using him and he wasn't using them. No matter how senile he get, you know, his people, if they do, then everything that he did to cover them is gonna be fraudulent too as well, and it's gonna get thrown out. And that's what they're doing. They're creating a whole new system based off of past practices that were fraudulent that everybody accepted, you know, and now they're saying that, no, we can't do that because, you know, we have to respect this and do all that. This is the way things supposed to be done. Man, they making this shit. They're gonna redo everything. And all you could be able to do is get in where you fit in. You know, it's gonna be hard for a lot of people to accept, but it's gonna be easy on the eyes. That meaning, excuse me, Damn dust got in my eyes, in my mouth. They're gonna be doing shit that's it's not gonna look bad from their end, from our end. I mean, like I said, they gave us that money during the pandemic, and people was making big off that shit. But now they got even more money. They don't really need to do that shit anymore. Yeah, they really don't need to do that shit. Salutes, DJ. Thanks for coming out, brother. Hit the like button, you guys. Hit the like. Share the video. I know this is just a rant, and I'm just out here talking and shit. But come on now. It's free. It's free. I'm trying to stand up my phone because I'm over here working and shit. Gotta clean out this water cooler for these chickerinos. I've been putting water in this thing like every 3 days now. And it's a big ass 7-gallon jug. And I don't see how the water is running out of it so fast. But I think the chickens are standing on it, tilting it, and that's what's causing all the water to come out. It's one of those pressure systems to where if the water runs down, it'll fill back up as they drink it. But yeah, man, this shit's crazy. And believe it or not, this is not anything new. All you movie buffs out there, I guarantee you can find a few movies that got this type of historical event that's happening right now. Because believe it or not, this shit's historical. I mean, just based off of the amount of money that's at stake. That's what makes it historical, tell you the truth. See, we never dealt with so much money in the government like this. We never did that. And we're talking about money that's unaccounted for. All of this Social Security money isn't money that companies are missing and product is missing from it. This is money that has been already taxed, has already been, issued out and accounted for. But see, the accounting is what's fraudulent. The accounting is fraudulent because you really can't say that these people don't exist if they have a social security number, they have an address. But the people that's controlling these social security numbers and addresses have their own as well. So they have 2 or 3 different social security numbers, 2 or 3 different addresses, and aliases and shit. And I think this was that system. Hold on. See a hole down here. About the this pronoun shit and misidentification. See, because let's say you want to control multiple identities, but you don't want to, accept one as your primary. With that identifying shit like pronouns and want to be called whatever you want to be called, now you could say, hey, that's not me. That's getting the money. That's my such and such, my other alter ego identity. And see, if they would have made laws that said that you can have multiple identities and aliases and it's legal, shit, man, they just made it legal to steal from your ass. Think about it. You got men dressing up like women. You got women dressing up like men, taking on different names from what their birth certificate and social security number says. And you got the government acknowledging it. It's like them saying, hey, we know you as this, but we don't recognize you as that. And since we recognize you as that and you work for our company, we owe you an extra paycheck. So not only you get the paycheck, but now your alter ego gets it too. Your pronoun gets it. They was like, nah, we can't do that shit because once it becomes legal, once it gets into the law, it's like pulling teeth to get that shit straight out. Damn. Yeah, I can't turn this shit off right now because this shit is too heavy, and I'll fill up the rest in there. But yeah, let me finish this shit. That's how they doing this shit, man. So in order to get away from this situation with the identity and identity theft, because that's what it is. When you claiming to be somebody else and you want to be called by a different name, but you ain't relinquished the old one and got rid of the social security number to that one. None of these people, see, there's a lot of money in becoming a tranny, not only entertainment, but identity wise too as well. When you're called somebody else, and that's why they ask you, do you go by any other aliases? Because it's legal to have an alias nowadays. Because people are starting to trademark their name and all of that shit. They're starting to do a lot of stuff that involves identity that we didn't do in the past. At least not the way we're doing it right now. The way we're doing it right now made it a free for all for fraud. And then they made it against the law to discriminate the fraudsters, to discriminate against the fraudsters. So they were like, you can't discriminate against somebody that's lying about their identity. It's against the law. Back in the day, you can out somebody on their identity, and that was perfectly acceptable. And then if they had any fraudulent activity that involved that identity, the real person was to blame for it. And this is the shit that they pulling on us, and we're not even recognizing it because we're paying attention to the surface level shit. The surface level shit is that shit that deals with race and gender. What we should be looking at is the legal ramifications. What legal ramifications would apply if you changed your sex or changed your or what you wanted to be called, whether it's human or non-human? And if you found that out, then you would realize that, hey, there's a lot of legal shit that's involved in this. And all it takes is for people to call you that a period of time in your life. Because if your job was calling you by a different name and you were working there and they called you by a different name, but they put on your paycheck another name, you can later on file, for some type of fraud that they didn't pay you all your money and shit. You didn't get all your money because your name is such and such. And they got it on the books that they've been calling you this name. So you've been working for the company all of these years and you ain't got no fucking payment for that. This is the shit that people are trying to do. See, and let's say you're on Social Security or on some type of disability, and as well as you, the person, the real person, your alter ego or your pronoun is as well. And now they got to get a check because you're no longer known as that person. But you're not giving up the Social Security number and all the benefits that came with it. You're just creating another one. They were trying to get to that point where they were trying to make pronouns people's legal identity. But the legal identity never got rid of the old identity. See? And if you can claim an alias and everybody know you as that alias, then when it suits you, you go back to your original name. You see? So that's what the whole straw man shit was about too as well. And now I've got to the point where I want to talk about what I actually started saying this shit for. The sovereign citizen movement is the transgender movement. The sovereign citizens, the ones that want to claim that they not the straw man, are the people that started this pronoun shit. Think about it. If I could say that the way you're writing my name isn't actually me, and claim that all the legal ramifications don't apply to you because you're not calling me by my legal name or by my name that was given to me by my parents, then all people got to do is say that that's not me because you're not identifying me as who I actually am, my pronoun. So you know how many cases would go on if they recognize this shit legal? All I do is go to court and be like, I wasn't driving. Here's my ID. The reason why is because that was legally. I say, bro, you wrote a ticket for fucking Charles Henry. This is not Charles Henry. This is Charlene Harris. Charlene Harris showed up as the what? Just like them sovereign citizen motherfuckers would say. I'm here as a legal representative of the such and such, such and such, such and such. You see what I'm saying? That's exactly who started all of this shit with the pronouns and changing your sex and shit. We don't realize that some of the same motherfuckers that's talking about this is your legal right, and they taking advantage of you by writing your name in all caps. It's the same motherfuckers that's making these policies that people are up in arms about, like changing your sex, calling yourself he, she, and all that shit. See, the straw man argument is the pronoun argument. Nobody's looking at that shit though, because if they looked at it, they would say, hey, you know what you're doing? You're doing the same thing these people are trying to do with calling themselves pronouns. You're trying to avoid the consequences of being one individual. That's why the courts don't recognize this shit. But if they would have recognized the pronoun shit and the changing of the sex and multiple sexes and all that stuff, they would have to have recognized the sovereign citizen movement because they go hand in hand. The people that came up with this shit, they some real deep dark thinkers because they came up with this shit and like projected how it would look in the future. Like they came up with this shit a long time ago and they knew that this was happening in the future. And we could go either one or two ways. We could go along with it and legalize that shit, make it a right to have multiple, you know, forms of expression as a legal right. You know what I'm saying? Or we could have refused it and did what we're doing right now by banning all that shit in the government and making it so hard for these people to live out their psychotic fantasies. You know, because sovereign citizens, right, before people realized it, everybody that was getting on board with it didn't realize this is psychotic fantasy. To where you're talking about you're not the person that's on the paper because of the way it's spelled, the capitalization and shit like that. In theory, in writing, in contracts, yeah, that's fine. But when you bring that shit into real life, like escaping consequences for certain type of crimes or, you know, reneging on bills and shit like that, you know, taking care of your responsibilities with your family, claiming you ain't the person. You know, when we got into shit like that, that's when it became it became weaponized. It was no longer a benefit. Now it's weaponized because people can come along and they can take your shit from you by using pronouns and straw man behavior and shit. They can come along and say that, hey, this is the person we're talking about. Once that shit got into society, man, we were on a path to where we're at right now, to where they got to purge the shit out of the government, purge the shit out of society, and start all over new. And that's what this big push to reallocate the monies is going to do. To reallocate this money, they're going to remove all the shit that, see, there's a new form of fraud these days. It ain't like it used to be. Fraud used to be the biggest fraud you could do is identity theft back in the day. You could take somebody's identity with money and charge it up on their ass. Get rich off them motherfuckers, right? Oh, that's not the biggest thing no more. If you want to steal from somebody today, you don't have to pretend to be them. You just got to pretend to be somebody else other than who you are. And that right there creates another outlet or another inlet for income. And not income like stealing from somebody. We're talking about income from the government. Because that's the biggest con right there. That's the biggest con. When people realized there was a system set up for the servers and for the served, that's when they realized, hey, which one do I want to be? Do I want to be a server or do I want to be a served? And most people, believe it or not, chose the latter. They chose to be the servers. Because see, the servers get the most attention. If you're a server at a restaurant, you get more attention than a person being served. Nobody gives a fuck that serving, getting served. Your food came on time. It's hot. It's just the way you want it. But people give a damn about their service. You come to somebody's table and you don't get their order right. Oh, they up in arms. They looking at some kind of benefit, some kind of payment. So that's the whole fraud now. The whole fraud is not pretending you're somebody else, but pretending you're not who you are. Just creating an identity out of thin air. That's the whole fraud right there. If you can create an identity out of thin air, create something for nothing, now you can dictate what is done with this creation. I mean, look at corporations. Corporations that don't exist all of a sudden exist becomes a person. All corporations are considered persons. And the reason why they can do that is because they can create something that didn't exist. But now we're gonna have to figure something else out. See? Because they didn't caught on to the fact that everybody knows about this shit now. So they're gonna have to figure something else out. They already implemented the real ID on our ass. So that right there cuts out aliases. You cannot get a real ID, right, without having a legal birth certificate and some other form of identification. And then that's your identity from now on. They knew that they weren't going to be able to get this shit going unless they removed everybody that was involved. And we think that they putting these people in the unemployment lines. They not going to the unemployment lines. They go into positions of non-authority. Pelosi, she ain't the Speaker of the House, but she's still in Congress. But what is her job? What is her role? Man, she's just another voter. That's all she is. She's just another voter. All of these guys, they're still in the government. They're just being moved out of positions of authority so they can't affect the decision making anymore. And then when all of these guys get done and they leave, if Pelosi ain't dead, somebody gonna slide her ass back in there. You know why? Because she knows the ropes on how to fraud the government and get caught and not get caught. And that's a rare trait, especially in our time when digital age where everything is on a computer and motherfuckers can look up any information that's public. I don't see why people ain't realized that she was cheating shit. It's all on the internet. But see, they're not gonna let you expose them when they got control of all of the information. They're not gonna let you expose them. They'll let you talk shit about them, embarrass them. Everybody got to go through a what they call it a humiliation ritual. Everybody got to do that. I mean, look at the motherfucker right now that's becoming real big on YouTube. Uh, 607 or 701 or whatever the fuck his name is. The nigga stuff numbers. Bro, watch this dude. Watch this dude. He's doing the Rain Man and Charles and Ray Charles all in one. This dude is acting like he getting some kind of upload. He's looking up at the sky and showing his teeth, shit like that. He's trying to act like he's autistic. See, because nowadays people put stock in weirdos and weird shit. The weirder you are, the more authentic you are. And the reason why they say that is because most people are normal. Most people are normal. And they get their information just like every other normal person. They're not fucking reading the tea leaves and looking at bones and staring up at the ceiling and making all kind of weird gestures. And you just, oh, that's just weirdo shit. And people are taking stock in that right now. In order for you to be accepted on social media, I hate to say this, you got to be the weirdest nigga on that bitch. You got to have the most people talking shit about you on here. Just regular information is not good enough no more. Like what I'm doing right now, just talking and trying to uh, communicate something that I see in the systems of the world. That shit is not acceptable. It's not. And the reason why it's not acceptable is because it's normal. It's normal to talk like I'm talking right now, not to trust the government, not to trust people that are in the government, not to trust the people that are so-called fighting against the government. You can't trust either side. You know why? Because they're not doing it for good. They're not doing it for your good. They doing it for theirs, for their benefit. Everybody that's going against the government is doing it because the government did something to them. They're not doing it because the government needs to change. Because if it needed to change and they're the right person to make change, they would be in government. They would be in politics to make those changes. But they're not. They're trying to coerce government to do what they say by increasing their numbers and the amount of people that they have with them. It's like the mob. It's like the mob theory. You know, the mob rules. You got enough people saying they want something done, even if it's evil, even if it's crazy, and you got numbers behind it. Oh, it has to be done because that's the will of the people. But see, when you got a bunch of people that are crazy, insane, and don't know it, you might not want to do their will because their will could be eating, newborn babies, you know, poisoning whole societies to make something that's not in danger, better. That would be the crazy people that love nature so much that they would rather see humanity fucking die out and leave nature by itself. That's crazy. That's insanity. If you're promoting the destruction of your kind, so the environment they live in could be better, not better for them, but better, period, then something's wrong with you. Something's wrong with you. When you can sit up there and say, I would rather see all humans removed from the earth so nature can replenish itself and rebuild. Well, how you gonna know if you fucking gone? How you gonna know that nature's gonna rebuild itself? Maybe nature needed that destruction that humankind gave it so it can come back stronger. It's like steel sharpens steel. You know what I'm saying? Or tempering steel. Before you can make a sword, you gotta destroy the metal. You gotta break it down. You gotta make it malleable. You gotta pretty much break it in order to make it strong, stronger than anything it could have been by itself. And then you gotta add other things to it that's gonna take away its purity. That means nature in itself, right, needs us to cut down trees so other trees can grow. Nature in itself needs us to kill animals so more can be born. If we didn't kill the animals, then new animals wouldn't be born because you would have a population that couldn't sustain itself. That's why we go out and hunt and we issue out, tags and shit because we know how many in the herd is going to starve if we do not deplete the herd. And see, people are looking at us like that, looking at our own selves like that. Well, you could kill the animals. Why we don't kill humans to make us better? Because we humans. See, we don't need to kill ourselves in order to maintain a good ecosystem because literally we control our own ecosystem. Animals don't control their own ecosystem. If the water stopped running today in the Saharas, them motherfuckers gonna die of dehydration. They don't know how to dig a well, pump water out of the ground, collect rainwater. They don't know how to do that shit. We do that stuff because guess what? We are different from the animals. That's why our religions say we have dominion over the animals. That's all religions say that. We're supposed to be good stewards. That means control the animals so it makes a good outcome for us. You see what I'm saying? A steward is somebody that controls his resources so he can live better off of them. Not let's get rid of everybody that's using the resources so the resources will be plentiful. Really? So how are we gonna collect the resources without motherfuckers? Hmm? How are we gonna get all that corn in here if we done got rid of everybody, but we want the corn to grow naturally? Guess what's gonna happen to the corn? Half of it's gonna rot, go right back to where it came from. So I don't understand some people when they have these ideas about this shit. And now I can sit back and recognize this is what's going on and have a better, have a strategy on how to avoid this shit. Cause that's what it's gonna take. To be a good survivor in this world today, it's gonna take a master at avoidance. You're gonna have to be a master at avoidance. For instance, look at all the people that died, during the pandemic. Most of them people didn't die from the actual pandemic. They died from the shit that came along with it. The depression, the medicines, the misinformation. They died from shit like that. They didn't die from, oh shit, I'm dying. And died. No, they died from all the misinformation. Shit that they could have avoided. But since they didn't have the foresight to see where, oh man, if I go to this hospital and tell these people that, hey, I think I have the pandemic, then what did they do to everybody that said that? Well, they came in, they gave them some drug that did the opposite of helping them, put their ass to sleep, put them on a ventilator, and then they died on the ventilator. Something that was supposed to help them. Allegedly. Allegedly. So you two don't strike me for this. I'm not giving no medical information. I'm just critiquing. This is not even educational. This is just me ranting. Check out the title. Cause see, they like to come back and there's people that come and they report you. And I'm a small channel. I like being small. I like being right below the radar. I don't need to get monetized, at least not right now. You know? But the thing is that there's people that don't want to hear you say any of this shit because they either made a mistake and went through the shit, didn't avoid it, and they feel a certain kind of way about it, or they are working with them. And that's the hard part right there. Because once you find out that somebody you respect and look up to is going along with it, either because, they made the mistake or they employed by the shit, that's demoralizing. Your mentor, the person you look up to, is actually your enemy. And, the mentorship is like this. When you surrender your services to somebody as a mentor, you literally have to hang on to every word they say because they're trying to teach you something that you deem is important to them, to you. And you know how it works. Like if you ever had to learn a job from somebody that's been doing the job for a long period of time, they always want to give you this long, drawn out way of doing shit instead of showing you, hey man, I've been doing this job for 25 years. And when we started off, we was doing it like this. But over time, I learned how to do it more efficient. Teach you the efficient way, and then say, but look, just in case, we lose all of this technology that we had, which will never happen. Technology has, for one, my battery's going low, but then I just had some internet issues. So I'm gonna pick this one up later on, probably. Salute to the real ones. Thanks for coming out, guys. Like, share, subscribe.